Close your eyes for a second. Picture love. Go ahead. What do you see, hear, feel? Chances are your mind goes to a familiar place, doesn't it? The grand gestures, the whispered sweet somethings, the feeling of being understood, completely accepted. The idea of someone seeing you, truly seeing you, and loving you unconditionally, flaws and all. We'd been fed this picture since we were kids. Movies, songs, stories, they all paint the same beautiful, comforting portrait. Love is the answer. Love conquers all. Find the right person, and everything else, it just falls into place. They tell you love is blind to imperfections, but it's a pure, selfless connection of souls. It's a comfortable story, isn't it? It's a soft place to land in a world that can feel hard and transactional. It makes you feel like you're aiming for something noble, something pure. It gives you hope. It gives you a direction to point your dreams. You believe in it. You chase it, because who wouldn't want that? But let me ask you something. While you're chasing that feeling, while you're lost in the poetry and the promises, are you missing something else? Something that's been there all along, operating beneath the surface? Because while they're selling you the fairy tale, there's a different kind of exchange happening, a different kind of value being measured. One that's got less to do with the beating of hearts and more to do with the bottom line. You've been told love is free, a gift, a blessing. But what if you've been paying a price you didn't even see being tallied? What if the currency of affection isn't always what the poets claim? What if, in the quiet corners of modern relationships, there's an unseen ledger? It's uncomfortable to think about, I know. It's not romantic. It's not the happily ever after you were promised. But for too many men, in too many relationships today, the deepest expression of love, the clearest signal of commitment, the undeniable truth of where you stand, isn't found in tearful declarations or cozy nights in. It's found in your wallet. And until you understand that language, until you see that ledger for what it is, you'll keep speaking a language nobody's truly hearing. You'll keep giving love in a dialect that doesn't compute according to the silent rules of the game, and you'll be left wondering why, despite all your effort, all your sincerity, and all your believing in the fairy tale, you still feel fundamentally misunderstood, undervalued, or even used. So you've swallowed the hook. You're ready to question the fairy tale. Good. Because the unseen ledger I'm talking about, the one where your wallet starts speaking a language you might not understand, it opens the moment you decide you're interested in someone. It starts in the dating phase. Think about it. The first date. What's the immediate, almost automatic assumption for many? Who pays? Yeah, it's still overwhelmingly the man. Now, before you jump down my throat, this isn't about whether men should pay or shouldn't pay. That's a different conversation. This is about what that act communicates, what it represents in the unseen ledger. When you pick up that check, you're not just paying for 2 coffees. You're making a declaration. You're signaling willingness to invest resources. You're demonstrating capability. And in that subtle exchange, the financial dynamic is already being established. It's the first entry in the ledger. Now, multiply that. The second date. The third. Dinner, movies, concerts, weekend trips. Each time, resources are being expended. And who is typically expending more? Again, in many traditional courtship scenarios, it's the man, and every time that happens, a silent expectation can begin to form, even if nobody says it out loud. This isn't always conscious on either side. She might genuinely appreciate the gesture. You might genuinely want to provide and impress, but the underlying mechanism is still at play. You are demonstrating value not just by your personality or your charm, but by your financial capability and willingness to spend. It's like you're watering the relationship not just with time and attention, but with money. And if that's the primary way the relationship plant is being nourished, well, that teaches it a certain way to grow, doesn't it? Conversations about money are still largely taboo in the early stages of dating. Nobody wants to seem shallow, right? So instead of open discussion, we have these unspoken rituals, the dance around the bill, the oh, let me get this exchange. And it's in that silence, in that avoidance of directness, that the your wallet is her love language dynamic can really take root. You might think you're building connection through shared experiences, through deep conversations, through vulnerability, and hopefully you are. But there's a parallel process happening, a subconscious evaluation based on resource allocation. Are you willing to invest? How much? Does your spending reflect a certain status or potential? It's not necessarily about a woman being intentionally manipulative. It's often about ingrained societal expectations, evolutionary psychology working on a subconscious level, and how we've been conditioned to equate provision with worth and desirability. It's a feedback loop. Men are told to provide, they provide, and that provision is interpreted, consciously or unconsciously, as a form of value and care. Think of the pressure to take her to nice places, to buy nice things, to demonstrate that you are capable of not just providing, but providing well. This isn't just about impressing her, it's about fulfilling an often unspoken expectation that's deeply rooted in our culture. And every time you meet that expectation, you reinforce the idea that your financial contribution is a key component of your desirability. The danger here is that your financial acts start speaking louder than your actual voice. Your willingness to spend becomes a more significant indicator than your personality, your values, or your emotional depth. You become the guy who takes her to expensive restaurants rather than the guy who makes her laugh, or challenges her thinking, or provides genuine emotional support. And this is where the unseen ledger starts racking up entries that work against you in the long run. If the primary language of courtship is financial, what happens when the financial spigot slows down? What happens during tough times? Is the love still understood? Or was the love language being spoken one you couldn't sustain forever? This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about seeing the dynamic for what it is. It's about recognizing that the comfortable lie of purely selfless, unconditional romantic love often obscures a transactional reality that begins the moment you swipe right or ask for a phone number. The dating phase isn't just an emotional interview. It's often implicitly a financial assessment. And the entries in that ledger, those subtle financial exchanges and expectations, they set the stage for everything that comes next in a relationship. They teach a language that, if you're not careful, will become the only way your love is truly understood. So you've navigated the dating game. You've made it past the initial unstated financial assessments. Congratulations, you're in deeper now. Maybe you're living together. Maybe you're married. The comfortable lie tells you that now is when the real, unconditional love kicks in, the practical stuff, like money that just fades into the background, right? It becomes our money, a shared pool where contributions don't matter as much as the collective good. That's the ideal anyway. But the unseen ledger, it doesn't just disappear. It often just gets more complex. The entries shift because the your wallet is her love language dynamic. It doesn't end with dating. It often intensifies when lives become more intertwined. The stakes get higher, the needs get bigger. Think about the traditional roles that still linger, even in supposedly modern relationships. The man as the primary provider, the expectation that his income is the foundation upon which the shared life is built. This isn't just about paying for dinner anymore. This is about rent or mortgage payments. This is about bills. This is about saving for the future, about children. And when one partner's financial contribution is significantly higher, or when there's a reliance on that contribution for the basic structure of the shared life, it creates a power dynamic. It creates leverage. Even if nobody explicitly says it, the person who holds the financial reins often holds a different kind of power in the relationship. It's like one person is holding more shares in the company. This isn't always about malicious intent. Often it's simply the natural consequence of differing incomes and traditional roles. But if the underlying unspoken love language is financial provision, then the person providing more feels like they are giving more love, and the person receiving feels loved because of that provision. Consider the arguments that couples have. How many of them are fundamentally about money? It's not just about budgeting or spending habits on the surface. Dig deeper. Is it about control? Is it about perceived fairness? Is it about feeling undervalued for non-financial contributions? Often, these arguments are symptoms of that unspoken financial love language not being addressed or understood. If one partner views extravagant gifts or expensive vacations as proof of love, while the other expresses love through acts of service or quality time, there's a disconnect in the love languages. But if the underlying dominant language is financial, then the acts of service or quality time might not register as strongly as the down payment on a car or the designer handbag. This can lead to a subtle but pervasive form of resentment. The partner providing financially might feel like their worth is being measured solely by their income. They might feel like they are loved for what they provide, not who they are. They become a walking ATM, a source of resources rather than a complex individual with emotional needs and contributions beyond the financial. And the partner receiving might feel pressure to constantly demonstrate appreciation in ways that align with the financial provision, even if it doesn't feel authentic to them. They might feel guilty for not contributing equally financially, even if they are contributing significantly in other ways. The longer this dynamic goes unaddressed, the more entrenched it becomes. The unspoken expectations solidify into perceived obligations. The subtle power shift becomes the norm, and the comfortable lie that love is purely emotional blinds you to the financial reality, shaping your relationship. You might build a whole life together, a beautiful structure on the surface, but the foundation was built on a financial transaction disguised as destiny. This isn't about saying that everyone is only after money. That's a simplistic and cynical view. It's about recognizing that for some, the language of love includes and can even prioritize financial expression. It's about understanding that if you are constantly providing financially, and that provision is the primary way your love is being understood and valued, you are speaking a specific language, and you need to be aware of the implications. The shift from dating to a long-term partnership doesn't erase the unseen ledger. It just changes the scale and the complexity of the entries. And until you open that ledger, until you bring those financial expectations and contributions into the light of open communication, you'll be operating on assumptions that can slowly erode the very foundation of your connection. Because when faced with the unaddressed reality of the financial love language, the comfortable lie of unconditional love begins to crack under the pressure. We've talked about the unseen ledger, how the financial dynamic gets written into the script of dating and long-term relationships. But here's the kicker. For many men, this all happens in a blind spot. They don't see it, or they see glimpses of it and quickly look away. Why? Why is this so often an invisible truth? Part of it goes back to that comfortable lie we talked about in the beginning. We are conditioned to believe in a specific version of romantic love, a version where money is unspiritual, where talking about finances in the context of affection feels dirty or transactional or just plain wrong. So when faced with evidence that financial contribution is a significant factor, the brain's first response is often denial. It doesn't fit the narrative. Think about how men are often raised. We're told to be providers. It's presented as a duty, a measure of success, a way to take care of the people you care about. And there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to provide, but when that role becomes intertwined with the definition of love, the lines get blurred. You provide because you love, but then you start to believe you are loved because you provide. Societal validation plays a huge role. Men often receive praise and recognition for their financial achievements. Success is often measured in monetary terms, and when that external validation is strong, it's easy to internalize it and believe that your financial status is a primary source of your value, not just in the world, but in your relationships. You start to believe that your ability to earn and spend is a key part of your attractiveness, your worthiness of love. Another huge factor is fear. Fear of not being enough, fear of not being able to measure up. If you strip away the financial contribution, what's left? If your perceived value is tied to your income or your spending habits, the idea of that being questioned or removed is terrifying. It forces you to confront your worth beyond your wallet. And that level of self-examination, most people, not just men, will avoid that at all costs. It's also about the fear of being seen as transactional yourself. If you admit, even to yourself, that financial dynamics are playing a significant role, does that make you shallow? Does that make you cynical? It's easier to maintain the illusion of pure, unconditional love than to admit that there's a tangible, monetary aspect to it. So you suppress the observations, you rationalize the spending, you keep telling yourself it's an act of love, purely and simply. Furthermore, the love language of finance is often unspoken. It's expressed through actions, through expectations, through reactions to spending or lack thereof. It's not usually a direct conversation, and humans are excellent at ignoring things that aren't explicitly stated, especially when those things are uncomfortable. The silence around money and relationships is deafening, and it allows this dynamic to flourish in the shadows. Then there's the trap of validation. Many men have learned to seek validation through providing. It feels good to be able to take care of someone, to make their life easier, to buy them things they enjoy. It's a clear, tangible way to feel needed and appreciated. And when that validation is received, it reinforces the behavior. It creates a cycle where providing financially becomes a primary way of feeling loved and valuable, even if it's not the only way. So the blind spot isn't necessarily about being intentionally ignorant. It's a complex interplay of societal conditioning, fear of inadequacy, the discomfort of acknowledging transactional realities in romance, the power of unspoken communication, and the reinforcing nature of receiving validation for financial provision. You're not just overlooking something, you're often actively, if subconsciously, avoiding seeing it because it challenges deeply held beliefs about love, masculinity, and your own worth. Understanding this blind spot is the first step to moving past it. It's about acknowledging that the picture of love you've been shown might be incomplete, and that the language your wallet is speaking is a real language with real consequences for your relationships and your own sense of self-worth. It's time to stop looking away. So you've seen the comfortable lie, you've felt the weight of the unseen ledger in dating and in long-term relationships, and you're starting to understand the blind spot, the reasons why this reality has been so hard to see. Now comes the hard part, the awakening, facing the financial truth head on. This isn't about becoming cynical. It's not about deciding that all relationships are purely transactional and devoid of genuine affection. That's just flipping to the opposite extreme of the comfortable lie. The awakening is about becoming aware. It's about acknowledging the financial dynamic for what it is, a powerful, often unspoken factor that shapes how love is expressed, perceived, and valued in many modern relationships. Facing this truth means you have to stop pretending money doesn't matter in the context of love and attraction. It means you have to stop relying solely on the romantic ideal and start looking at the practical realities. It means recognizing that your financial contribution, your spending habits, your career success, your ability to provide, these are all being registered, interpreted, and factored into the dynamic of the relationship, whether anyone is saying it out loud or not. This awakening can be uncomfortable. It can feel like a betrayal of the romantic narrative you've held onto. You might feel hurt, or angry, or disillusioned. You might look back at past relationships and see patterns you missed entirely because of that blind spot. That's okay. Those feelings are part of the process. It's the comfortable lie dying. But here's why facing this truth is essential. Clarity. When you understand that your wallet is her love language, is a real dynamic. You gain clarity. You can start to differentiate between genuine affection and appreciation for you as a person, and appreciation for your financial contribution. You can start to see if the connection is based on who you are or what you provide. This clarity empowers you to make conscious choices. Instead of passively playing a role in an unspoken financial script, you can start to write your own. You can have honest conversations about finances, expectations, and the role of money in your shared life. You can set boundaries around spending, around providing, around what you are and are not comfortable with. Facing the financial truth also allows you to assess the health of your relationships based on a more complete picture. Are both partners contributing in ways that are valued and appreciated? Are expectations clear and discussed openly? Is there a balance between financial and non-financial contributions? Or is the relationship primarily built on a financial exchange, with affection tied directly to provision? This awakening isn't about becoming suspicious of every partner or every interaction. It's about becoming discerning. It's about developing the ability to see beyond the surface, beyond the romantic gestures, and understand the underlying dynamics that are truly at play. It's about recognizing the subtle cues, the unspoken expectations, the patterns of behavior that reveal whether the financial love language is dominant. And crucially, facing this truth is about reclaiming your own worth. If you've been operating under the assumption that your financial provision is the primary way you earn love and validation, recognizing that dynamic allows you to start valuing yourself for who you are, independent of your income or your spending habits. It allows you to build self-esteem on a more solid foundation than your bank account. The awakening is not the end, it's a beginning. It's the beginning of building relationships based on awareness, honesty, and a complete understanding of all the languages being spoken, including the uncomfortable one about money. It's about moving from a place of blind faith to a place of clear-eyed reality. It's about choosing to see things as they are, not just as you wish they were. You've faced the truth. You've seen the comfortable lie for what it is. You understand the unseen ledger, how the financial dynamic subtly shapes dating and long-term relationships. You've recognized your own blind spot and navigated the often uncomfortable awakening. So what's the payoff? What do you gain by staring directly at the reality that, for some, your wallet is her love language? The payoff is this: the possibility of building a real partnership, not a partnership based on a comfortable lie, not one dictated by an unseen ledger, but one built on a foundation of shared understanding, honesty, and mutual respect, where all contributions, financial and otherwise, are seen, valued, and openly discussed. When you're no longer operating in a blind spot, when you've brought the financial dynamics into the light, you can finally have authentic conversations, dangerous conversations, yes, but necessary ones, conversations about income, about spending habits, about financial goals, about expectations around providing and contributing. These aren't the death of romance. They are the building blocks of a mature, honest connection. This allows you to create a relationship based on conscious agreement, not unspoken assumption. You can define together what constitutes a healthy contribution, financially, emotionally, practically. You can ensure that both partners feel valued for all they bring to the table, not just the size of their paycheck. Facing the financial truth also liberates you from the pressure of constantly performative spending. You no longer feel the need to buy affection or prove your worth through grand financial gestures. You can express love and appreciation in ways that are authentic to you, and you can seek a partner who values those expressions, alongside a healthy approach to shared finances. And here's a powerful truth about this awakening. While it might challenge some relationships built on the comfortable lie, it has the potential to strengthen those built on something more solid. A partner who is also willing to look at these dynamics, to have honest financial conversations, and to value your contributions beyond your income is a partner with the potential for a deeper, more resilient connection. You stop being a walking ATM or a provider, measured solely by your bank account. You become a partner with your own needs, your own contributions, and your own voice in shaping the shared financial future. You reclaim your agency. The payoff isn't a guarantee of a perfect relationship. Those don't exist. The payoff is the chance for a real relationship, one where the foundation isn't built on unspoken assumptions or fear, but on mutual understanding and a shared commitment to navigating all of life's complexities, including the financial ones. This journey from the comfortable lie to the financial truth isn't easy. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to challenge deeply ingrained beliefs. But the reward is the possibility of a connection that isn't blind, but clear-eyed, a love that isn't a performance, but a partnership. If any of this resonated with you, if you've seen glimpses of this unseen ledger in your own life, or if you're tired of the comfortable lie and ready for something more real, then the awakening has begun. Don't let this just be another video you watched. Let it be a catalyst. It's time to stop operating in the blind spot. It's time to open the unseen ledger. It's time to understand all the languages of love being spoken, including the one your wallet might unknowingly be fluent in. This is your opportunity to build relationships based on truth, on clarity, and on a foundation that can actually support the weight of a shared life. If you're ready to start that journey, if you're ready to build real partnerships based on clear-eyed truth, then do this. Like this video, share it with another man who needs to hear this truth, and subscribe to this channel for more discussions that challenge the comfortable lies and help you build a life based on reality. Your support helps us reach more men who are ready for the awakening.